listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Review. It's the first official week of the college football season, and we're back with a recap of what happened and a look ahead to what's coming up in the week ahead. And guys, week one kind of lived up to the hype. It was exactly what you would expect to have happened. Some teams played really well, some teams not so much. And we might as well just
Saying it.
yeah, we can start off probably with the number one team, Georgia playing Clemson at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in a beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. And I will say the probably quick takeaway from that one is Georgia's really good and Clemson's in deep doo-doo.
Well, when you don't portal, that's what happens.
Less turtle, more portal.
Yeah. I know Dabo Swinney has banked a lot of credit for being able to win a national championship and get the program back to where they thought they should be. But if you just look on the surface at what happened to them in this game and what happened to them last season, it almost looks a little bit like the games passed them by. Am I wrong?
Well, to me, this
About 3 years ago.
Yeah, to me, this reminds me of the position Mike Krzyzewski was in when at Duke men's basketball back when they were the freshmen were doing one and dones, and he wasn't playing. And when he realized that this program was starting to flail a little bit, well, it was time to get some 5-star freshmen to come for a year at Duke, and that's when he went back on another national championship run. There are times when you just got to roll with the changes. And Dabo Swinney's very stubborn in the way that he thinks the old school still works. And they got boat raced on yesterday against Georgia. That game was a meat grinder at the beginning. I mean, both teams were just, even the defenses just weren't in sync yet, but the offense was just not clicking at all. And then Georgia made a great adjustment in going toward the edges and knew that they had deked the secondary of Clemson into thinking that they're going to be running the ball more and doing more bubble screens. And when they started going on the edges, that's all she wrote. And it opened up some running lanes. And Georgia
with their backup.
With their backup. So I just think Kirby Smart and his staff did a great job of out coaching Dabo Swinney and the Tigers. They just look like a national championship contender. And Carson Beck, if you're giving away a Heisman Trophy in week one, he would be my pick.
Oh, I thought that always went to Deion's kids.
That's pretty big performances too. We'll get into that as we go down the list of games.
Is the police blotter going to start being part of the SEC injury report? Asking for a friend.
I thought it always was, considering the Fulmer Cup in years past.
Yeah,
exactly. You got to bring that back.
Nothing new there, Big Ten boy. That's always been.
Hey, we haven't had one speeding ticket this year.
See?
Oh wait, it's a new month. They haven't had any speeding tickets this month unless there's something that happened after midnight that I didn't hear about.
There it is. Yes, everything resets now that we're in September. So you got to work on your ratio of incidents to days of the month. Even though we just cleared September, it's all
days
good.
Days without an incident.
Yeah. Go ahead and set the number back to 0. Days since we've had an incident on this campus, 0.
It was interesting that Kirby made Travis Etienne sit for the game.
And he said it might be more than one. And it also lets you know about the depth that Georgia has continually.
Yeah.
And it's a churning machine. Literally, it's like, okay, if it's not you, it's the next guy. And there's always that cliche about next man up mentality. You've got that with the depth at Georgia, and you saw that with multiple running backs taking over for a running back that might be gone for more than one game.
Yeah, it was a true freshman that stood out for them at running back. Nate Frazier, 11 carries, 83 yards, touchdown. and he was pretty impressive running through people. Moving down the list here, we don't really need to get into the Ohio State 52-6 win over Akron because
Oh.
really, what is there to say about that?
The best receiver on the field was a freshman.
A freshman.
Yes.
That kid's going to be a problem this year.
Well, yeah, he should light up Akron because everybody on Ohio State is a better recruit than anybody on the Akron roster.
Or Zips.
Yes. But what's interesting is the next game, the team preseason ranked number 3, the Oregon Ducks struggled with the Idaho Vandals. They ended up pulling away and winning 24-14, but this was a game that probably should have been in the Ohio State Akron range, and it wasn't.
That Ohio State game was slow at the beginning as well. Akron was leading for a quarter.
Yeah, it was 3-0, and the voice of Ohio State, you could tell that there was a little bit of trepidation on the call, but it worked out. But go Idaho. I mean,
Idaho.
Thank you. I mean, with Oregon, Idaho seemed content, and I think that we see this a lot where large underdogs are competitive for most of the game. You don't care what happens between the 20s. Yardage and time of possession, fine. You want to chew up clock, fantastic. You could get all the yards you want. By the time you get to the 20, then we'll start paying attention to you, and then we'll try to make life as difficult as possible for you offensively. And I give Idaho a lot of credit. It's just they gave Oregon all the yards. They yielded. It's just like, y'all gonna have them. That's great, fine, cool. And then when it got inside in a close range, Idaho, their defense made it very, very difficult for Oregon to function. And Dan Lanning did just enough to win with a late score. So full credit to Idaho, given the puncher's chance.
Yeah, I think that was total disrespect to Idaho, Phil. I mean, this is a team that went to the FCS playoffs last year, finished third in the Big Sky, which is the Big Ten of the FCS. And they're a good FCS program, and they've got some talent on that team, and they're going to get fired up for a first game of the year against the Oregon Ducks, the number 3 team. So this game probably went as expected for Idaho fans and even for some Oregon fans that are in the know. That's a good football program with some good players. Again, depth is the issue, and you got a quarterback like Dylan Gabriel behind center. I mean, he made some.
Is he going to take back those headphones
plays.
he gave the line?
Yeah. So I don't want to disrespect Idaho. I mean, that's a good football program that's picked to finish second in the Big Sky, and so their performance was A+. It just wasn't good enough against the major college Big Ten team.
No disrespect intended there, but if you're the number 3 team in the country, you should be beating any FCS team, even the best of the FCS, by more than 10.
Ooh, is that a segue to another game?
Eventually, yes, but we're not there yet. We'll go down the list here. Texas and Alabama won their games by combined score of 115-0. Alabama beats Western Kentucky 63-0. Texas takes down Colorado State 52-zip. Ole Miss 76, Furman nothing. There's nothing to be said there, but there is plenty to be said here as Notre Dame takes down Texas A&M at Kyle Field in College Station in front of 100,000 plus.
What an atmosphere in College Station initially, but I got Notre Dame on my radar screen right now because that was impressive in that atmosphere. Game 1. And to beat Texas A&M, I mean, I thought Notre Dame did a great job of executing their defense and their offense throughout the game. A&M just could not make the explosive plays against that Notre Dame defense. They had to rely on field goals. And I was very impressed with the performance of Notre Dame, especially Riley Leonard. I mean, he's been in those big time situations before, and even going up against his former head coach at Duke. he was able to pick apart that defense.
I'm just still unsure how good either one of those teams are.
Yeah, it's still week one. Um, it's hard to get a read at where things are, but I think Notre Dame, I agree with Wilkie. I mean, Notre Dame's going to be tough this year. They're experienced, they're faster, they're bigger. They've got what they need and an easier schedule than they normally have.
I just need to see them do it all year long and through the end of the season, because they have this habit of choking towards the end.
Because with that schedule they've been playing in the past few years are worn down.
Mm-hmm.
And the injuries have caught up.
Oh,
I mean, when Connor Wigman, I give Mike Elko a lot of credit with the defense that Texas A&M has. I don't think they're going to be giving up, bucket loads of points. But when you still have an offense where Connor Wigman goes, 11 to 32 for only 100 yards passing?
Yeah, that's not good.
That's where I think Texas A&M's defense is going to be there before the offense does. And I don't know when that offense is going to get to full song and Connor Wigman's going to be comfortable with what Mike Elko wants to do. And I think that you saw basically, and this is probably the game plan in big games going up against Texas A&M until further notice, make Connor Wigman beat me. And right now the running game is there, and that'll get you some mileage. But I think that probably what you're going to do going up against Texas A&M, you're probably going to put 7 or 8 in the box, trust your corners and go man on receivers and force Connor Wigman to beat me. When you only have 100 yards net passing in a game like that at home, when you've got 123,000 people there, or however the hell many there were, that I think right now, until further notice, is how you're going to get to Texas A&M. I think it's going to be a rough start for them offensively until Connor Wigman gets to full song, feeling comfortable with what Mike Elko wants him to do.
Well, that depends on the Texas A&M's offensive line, because Notre Dame got excellent pass rush against him, and Wigman was making some bad decisions because he had to rush his throws. And when you don't have a running game, a consistent running game, you're kind of in a tough spot. And so credit to Notre Dame for getting a pass rush on him and forcing Connor Wigman to get in a lot of bad decisions
they were definitely
offensively.
Moving down the list here, Penn State with a solid win, 34-12 over West Virginia in West Virginia. It looked like
Billy's Super Bowl.
They opened up the offense a little bit, and they actually threw the ball downfield for the first time in over a year. Michigan with a win 30-10 over Fresno State, but it took 17 points in the fourth quarter from the Wolverines in order to pull away in that game.
And a receiver not going to the ball at the end to give him that.
Yeah, one of them was a pick six with under a minute to go as Fresno's trying to drive, and they're inside the red zone and jump the route and go the other way to get that final 7 on the board. Fresno played them tough. I have some early concerns about everybody getting once again to full song in Michigan offensively.
Yeah, it's a lot harder when you don't know the defense that's coming.
And that's another example of just why first games of the year just really make me nervous, because you don't know what you're going to get because you haven't played anybody yet. And Fresno was a tough open for Michigan. I mean, that's a good football program. And I thought they played well, as good as they could. But again, Michigan had some better skill players, and they were able to get the chunk plays to be able to pull away. But concerned about Michigan, give me a couple more games before I get concerned about the Wolverines, because I still think there's some good talent there.
Anybody seen any good documentaries lately? I'm sorry, we gotta mention that a little bit.
Well, Tennessee, don't take anything away from this game because they played Chattanooga 69-3. Yeah, okay, whatever. The Tennessee fans already thinking that they're great.
Oh, I love that quarterback they have.
He looked nice.
Yeah, he should have been playing probably last season for them, but that's a separate conversation.
Was that the Scrabble test for the morning?
Yes, I'm not even going to try saying the name. Nico.
I am Aliava.
That guy.
Nelson for the
Oklahoma
win.
State cruises over a difficult opponent in South Dakota State. Ollie Gordon, couple touchdowns, 104 yards rushing. Kansas State with an easy win. Don't know if you guys got a chance to watch any of this. I watched a little bit. Miami made Florida look really bad.
And Miami made themselves look really good. In fact, in a weekend of really bad ACC football, Miami is the lone bright spot in that conference right
It
now.
played
More like
Florida.
ASS football.
Yeah. But
Goodness.
God, I
Do you think
literally
it was a bad idea to get rid of a guy that won 10 games every year and got you to bowl games?
he quit recruiting.
Yeah.
Really wanted to make sure that every game he was going to turn into a wrestling promo. And I think that I think he was tired of the front office in Gainesville. And so he was just like, okay, fire me. And they did. So I think that any of this discussion about, the previous coach at the University of South Georgia, Gainesville campus, that's on him for stopping recruiting and making it difficult. And I think the front office had no choice but to, send him packing. But, right now, Billy Napier, I'm surprised, frankly, that Billy Napier made it through the weekend.
Yeah,
Because
his seat's already hot.
in that building.
His seat was hot before the season started. Now it's in fuego,
3
like
months.
habanero, approaching ghost pepper level.
Whew. It was not good. It was not good. Like I said, and honestly, I think you've got to look at both Scott Strickland, the AD, and Billy Napier at this point. And right now, what's the buyout? $27 million. It's 85% of the remaining money on his contract. So I don't know who the big industries are. Maybe the watermelon industry in Ocala. I don't know who the big money folks are in Gainesville. But
they'll be writing checks soon.
Gatorade's not going to bail him out.
They may have to. I don't know. It's like
they're still paying the other buyout though, aren't they?
Yeah, and so that's the other issue. It's like, okay, where are we going to come up with the $27 million? I think they're going to find it, and they're going to find it soon.
Yeah, because following up on what John said, if you ever look up the term "leaving the cupboard bare" in the dictionary, there's a photo of Dan Mullen next to it. But that being said, even an average coach should be able to build that program out, even with an empty cupboard. And it's apparent that
just recruiting in state, you could field a decent team.
Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah, absolutely.
And that ain't happening in Gainesville right now. Got to talk about this game because of the incredible offense put up by Arizona and their 61-39 win over New Mexico. If you look at the box score for this game, it's absolutely freaking insane. Tetiroa McMillan, I'm probably saying his name wrong, for Arizona. 304 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns in this game.
Light them up.
Jesus, how many games did it take those guys to get that kind of offensive output last year? 2,
well,
3?
Arizona probably, a game and a half, maybe 2.
I'd say definitely 2.
Well, and what does this say about New Mexico, considering that our friends up at Montana State got them in week 1, and then you try to just sit there and pull the governor out of the golf cart with your offense and your defense in week 2 and just try to sit there and match what's going on. And that didn't happen either. So Lobos have some figuring out to do after 2 weeks of trying to match somebody on offense and that not happening, and then having an FCS team come up and bite you in week 2. I think there's some stuff that you got to think about right now in Albuquerque.
So what you're saying, John, is Bronco Mendenhall is scratching his head going, what did I get myself into?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out where that old 4x4 is going to take him, and it might take him off the dirt road instead of keeping him on it.
Guys, look at this statistically. I talked about McMillan with the 10 catches for 304 yards. He caught 10 out of the 19 completions by Noah Fifita.
Noah Fifita, yeah.
Fifita went 19 for 31, 422, and 4 touchdowns. All 4 touchdowns to McMillan. 10 of the 19 completions and all but 118 of the passing yards. That is
Well, those two played high school football together too. So they're like they know each other like the back of their hands. I mean,
Line up
that's,
for the Blitnikoff right now.
yeah.
That's just an insane statistic. I want to go through a couple other games here while we are talking. One that jumps off the page, and I'll just jump straight to it. Vanderbilt getting the early win. That is insane.
Diego Pavia is a certifiable pain in the ass. And if you didn't know it last year with his time at New Mexico State, where Vanderbilt picked up New Mexico State's offensive coordinator, brought in Jerry Kill as an analyst, and you got Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia is a pain in the ass year 2.
Your leading rush for the game also with 26 carries for 104 yards and a TD. Could the New Mexico connection be what gets Vanderbilt back into competitive nature or the competitive spirit in the SEC
this year?
Well, I mean, they still gave up a big lead in the second half to Virginia Tech. And again, this just shows you what the ACC football is like right now. When you give up a comeback like that to Vanderbilt, and it was very Vanderbiltian to win the way they did.
I think you made up a word.
So, but yeah, the New Mexico State connection, yeah, at least for a week it's going to work. But let's see when they get in the teeth of the SEC schedule, where that gets them, because this isn't, what were they in not the Mountain West? They were, I forget what conference New Mexico State's in. I think Conference USA.
Yeah, they were in Conference USA.
Let's see how that offensive philosophy goes up against the SEC defenses.
Just looking down here at the list, I want to jump backwards a little bit to a Friday game. Michigan State beats Florida Atlantic, but doesn't beat them by much, 16-10.
They got nothing there in East Lansing right now.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
The cupboard is really bare up there.
Gutted roster, gutted coaching staff.
Yeah.
Some other interesting games. Maryland with a big win, 50-7 over the Jim Moore-led UConn Huskies.
All right, when we got to talk about Colorado, skip these crappy games.
Because I don't want to talk about Colorado.
How not? That was a nationwide game that drew big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It also gets us a lot of hits. So come on, bring it.
All right, I'll lead off. I'm sure by the time we get to this show in November, we'll be talking about Shakir Sanders and Travis Hunter shutting down their college careers, because Colorado probably has 1-2 games at the most.
Yeah.
That line on both sides of the ball was just atrocious. And that's why North Dakota State was playing with Colorado. If I keep calling Mexico State. If North Dakota State had any kind of explosive offense, they would have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
But they just got out-talented by Colorado.
They got out-reffed at the end. Jesus.
Oh.
Targeting call. Hey, just to double check this rule, do you start the clock before the ball's spotted after a first down?
No.
Okay.
Not after a first down.
Okay, then
you have to spot the ball, and then they start the clock.
When you lower your head and you hit somebody else in the head, is that unnecessary roughness at the very least, if not targeting?
Targeting.
Okay, and who is the dirtiest player on Colorado? Because I saw at least 4 hits out of bounds by a certain number 21. Unbelievable. I mean, officiating in that game. Unreal.
The targeting call that was not called would have given North Dakota State, I think, a first and goal at the 4, as opposed to not getting it called, and then the last completion at the Hail Mary was completed to the 4-yard line.
Minus a good 6 seconds on the clock. Also.
And so you're talking a personal foul call that would have given you first and goal at the 4, plus maybe 2 shots to get it into the end zone there with a late opportunity for North Dakota State.
Unbelievably bad.
Long year in Boulder, I'll tell you right now.
Oh yeah, and we knew this game was going to be close. We knew that North Dakota State at least had a puncher's chance at this game, and
They should have won it.
yeah.
Flat out.
They should have.
I should have won it, yes.
And Colorado's exactly what we thought they were.
I've never seen a college helmet that had an ad for a player on the bumper.
Now,
they-
it's your Oklahoma State, and then the NCAA says that you can't have the QR codes on the back.
So you can have an ad for a millionaire's children, but you can't like get an O lineman a hamburger.
Apparently not.
well, you can't put a QR code on the helmet in order for you to earn the money for that hamburger.
I would throw it up with the highlights on every jumbotron.
So I am. Maybe it's just because we're old, but it's like, how do you actually capture a QR code on a football player's helmet when it's on TV?
Freeze,
Pause.
frame, and rewind.
Pause.
Pause. Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
guys, let's stay in the Big 12 because the name that stood out for me in that league was Texas Tech narrowly escaping Abilene Christian 52-51 in a game where defense was just a suggestion.
Mhm.
And Abilene Christian had the ball, was the last with the ball in the first overtime period and decided to go for 2
Yeah.
and didn't make it.
What
You're
league
probably
is-
excited about the win in Lubbock, but you're probably like, that was Abilene Christian and we barely beat them.
Mhm.
what league do they play in?
Abilene Christian,
Yes.
they're an FCS program.
Yeah, I'm
I think they're in the Southland.
Efforting.
going to say either the Southland or the SWAC.
No, they're in the Southland. They're probably there with Stephen F. Austin and
The Bionic Men of Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
They-
Southland.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
They're in
Southland
the
Conference, yeah.
Southland
which
Conference.
is a good FCS league.
No, they joined the WAC.
Oh,
And
they're in the WAC now.
WAC ASUN merger.
Oh, okay.
So
Anyway, they almost beat
It's-
Texas Tech.
It's wax son.
mhm. It is a WAC, son.
Yeah,
So
we
if
got to
you're-
talk about it.
So it
Gotta
could be
talk
a long
about it.
year for you Red Raider fans.
Yes.
Yes, it could very well be. Speaking of games where defenses were optional, I got to talk about my alma mater because we made somebody look like a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Oh boy.
Boise State 56, Georgia Southern 45. The story of this game, by far and without question, Ashton Genty from Boise State,
Heisman right now.
267 yards and 6 touchdowns.
So is this in real life or is this on NCAA on the Xbox?
Oh, it's in real life. It's real. It's very, very real.
Those are video
Spectacular.
game numbers.
It's an insane statistic. He had in the first quarter alone, he had a 77-yard touchdown run and a 26-yard touchdown run.
4 first half touchdowns.
And that doesn't even consider in the fourth quarter when he had a 75-yard touchdown run.
So what you're saying is the console that Clay Helton was using for his defense didn't work.
Now the B button was not functioning for Clay Helton. No.
Because it was my alma mater, I watched a good large portion of this game, and the combination of bad defense and really, really bad tackling made Genty look like an absolute All-American. They could not.
Now.
I assume this game was on the Smurf turf.
No,
It
Statesboro.
It was in Statesboro.
Sold
Okay.
out.
That makes it
Even
worse.
better.
Plus the grass. I mean, literally all the permanent seating filled. 23,000 folks, and the only seats that were left were if you wanted to sit on the grass.
Yeah, it was a sellout crowd down in Paulson Stadium, and Southern had no answer for Genty, or for that matter, Maddox Madsen. Boise State racking up 651 yards of total offense in the game. Which is not to say that Southern was bad. They weren't bad. Jalen White ran for 3 touchdowns, and J.C. French threw for 322 yards and a couple of touchdowns too.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those games where defense was literally optional for everybody involved.
Gave him the Heisman now.
Boise State already pushing them really hard for that honor. Any other games you guys jump off the page to you guys early on?
I'll do something philosophical. How about that?
Okay.
I'm ready.
As you can tell, I'm not an Office HD. I am in Auburn, Alabama. As you can tell with the artwork and the lighting and all that. I'm in Auburn.
That looks
And
fancy for Auburn.
yesterday,
It looks like a hotel room pretty much anywhere in the country. You
yeah,
just,
so I could say I'm in Budapest, Hungary. You know, it doesn't matter.
It's lovely in September.
These week one games with the opponents that are, you know, it's a paycheck game. You know, the gulf is quite wide when it comes to the talent pool. Here in Auburn specifically, going up against Alabama A&M, it was 52-3 at the half. And you could tell, obviously, there was a large gulf of talent. They decided for the second half to do 10-minute quarters.
yeah, that's an NCAA rule.
Yeah.
And so it's good to know that at least that's part of it. At least we now have, a
Mercy rule.
kind of a thing. It should have been running clock, but that's just me with all of my other influences. The one thing that annoyed me in this second half, and you see this with the big numbers that we've been talking about here in the A block, here in Auburn, in Knoxville, in Oxford, where apparently it was cool to put up 76 on Furman, you know. I'm seeing offensive coordinators in these games continue to pass and put up points to these 69s and 76s and 673s and all this kind of stuff. Look, just get out of Dodge. You proved your point. You're better than the other guy that came in here for the $450,000 check. Good on you. You ran up the score. Fantastic. There should have been a point where you look out for the healthier athletes, run the ball, run the damn ball, and keep running the ball to get out of town. There was a point to me in the game here in Auburn where it was just a painful watch, where an offensive coordinator is still passing with a second and a third and with a third quarterback. It's like, look, it was counterproductive for me and counterintuitive for me. And I sincerely hope, and I don't know what the conversation was, but I sincerely hope that the conversation between Hugh Freeze and the head coach for Alabama A&M, when they were shaking hands, and it was a long handshake, that I hope that there was discussion about karma, about running up a score in a game like this. And it seemed like it was too much and you were piling on. Get in, run the damn ball, get out of town. It seemed like it was too much and it was too painful when you've got a talent gulf like this. And like I said, personal preference, there's a point where you just look, stop it and get out of town. It was annoying for me. And I'm an old fuddy-duddy, I guess. And so it was just annoying as all hell.
Insert dead horse graphic.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, before we wrap up here in the first block of the review and move on to the upcoming week, wanted to talk really quickly about the weirdness that was the Kentucky Southern Miss game that ended up being a three-quarter game.
Yeah.
Instead of a full game, in part because of a 2+ hour lightning delay in Lexington.
Curfew will do that to you, son.
Yeah.
And the game didn't even start until after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And the teams decided after the third quarter that we're good. Let's go home.
Yeah, you see, you have that in Lexington, even with the weather attached. And you have a couple of other SEC cities, what we had happen on Saturday night.
Well, the other game that stood out to me was UNLV's win over Houston and winning it impressively 27-7 in Willie Fritz's debut. Houston still's got some good athletes, but UNLV is on a different level now and the favorite to win the Mountain West. And Barry Odom is going to be a very hot coaching commodity when the pink slips are flying in October and November. There's a couple of places I could see him ending up. Hello, Gainesville, Florida. Hello, Fayetteville, Arkansas.
There would be some serious irony
So,
if that happens.
so I think he's going to be the hottest coaching commodity from the group of five. Once we start seeing the pink slip flying.
I have to start calling a group of 6 with the Pac-12 in there.
You mean the Tupac?
But yeah,
They're in a league of their own, Marty.
yes, they are.
Oh my God, we're making a buddy comedy called that.
Oh,
It's going to be me and Nelson trying to find the game on CW.
Oh man.
well, good luck with that.
Oh, what was their? Did they have the Washington State Portland State game? Was that their?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I saw that on the schedule when I was looking at different games, and I saw that.
Technically, that was a national game.
Yeah, it was.
Technically, yeah.
It's like, one, who's broadcasting it, and two, why would it end up on a national network of any sorts? But
Because they got time that they got to fill under their contract. We got a 3.5-hour block here, so we're
And they
going
had the
to.
money.
Washington State put 70 on Portland State.
yeah, I guess for the CW, it sure the heck beats running infomercials.
Well, that and the LIV golf tour.
Yes. All right, guys, what do you say we move on here and wrap things up on the first half of the review? When you come back in the second half, you're going to get to see who plays next week. And more importantly, it's everybody's favorite segment, college football on a budget.
On a budget.
On a budget. All that and more.
Right there with Dublin, Idaho.
Send us to break.
All that and more when we return for the second half of the review. You are listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Please like and subscribe.
Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the College Football Review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with 2 O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports, do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Hello, everybody. Congratulations. You have made it to the second half of the show.
Made it.
This is the part of the show where we get to talk about the upcoming week in college football, and we do college football on a budget. For those of you who don't know what that is, it means we look for games that you can get in for on the DL, usually under $20, and there's usually pretty good selection of those games. But before we get there, guys, I want to talk about a few games coming up this week. And I want to start off with a Friday night game. And I only start off here because I just saw some photos today of the stadium, which is at Northwestern in the temporary facility that they rigged up on the waterfront.
Yeah, Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
If you haven't seen it, take a look because it's actually pretty attractive looking stadium.
Yeah.
In terms of the look of it. It's not particularly large. It looks like a small
12,000.
Around 20,000.
Yeah, it looks like a small, decent sized high school football stadium or a soccer
It's a
stadium.
Big Ten school. Jesus.
But it looks like it would be a fun place to go sit and watch some football.
Yeah,
least
if you're
for
in
a
high
year.
school, I got like 5 high schools near me that have more seats than that.
It's not the seats, it's the view. Texas, you're just looking out at the rolling.
I go to football to watch football. If the draw
It's
for your
nice.
home game is not watching the game, you're in deep crap.
Well, it's a nice quirky look for 1 year while they totally rebuild their football stadium on campus at Evanston. But yeah, it's going to be unique for about 2 games, and then it's going to be, well, come on, this is Mickey Mouse here. This is Little League. Let's
And,
go to the big boys. Let's go to the big stadium.
and the
Why not
Wildcats,
play at Soldier Field?
Oh yeah, like when you've got teams that would draw playing against them.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating as Duke comes to Northwestern this week that they didn't do that. Instead, they spent the money to retrofit that stadium to make it football ready.
It went unusual. Play a year at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, and then play like the 3/4 configuration so you don't run into the wall.
Or,
Yeah.
or
Turn it around. Well, I
or
guess
play a guaranteed rate. I mean, come on. Well,
the joke.
there's safety issues there.
The joke probably, yeah. Well, I mean, they'd get more people at Comiskey than they would for the White Sox. But
That's true.
if you if you play at Wrigley, then what you do is you play the 3/4 configuration. But obviously, that wouldn't necessarily be a concern because Northwestern wouldn't be scoring in that end anyway. So you'd be okay with the other the 75 yards.
And neither would the fans.
Ha 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 ha. I will move on here because I just wanted to bring that up. But going into week number 2, if you look down the schedule, really there's only one game featuring 2 ranked teams. That game is a noon kickoff in Ann Arbor when Texas makes the trip up north to take on Michigan.
They're gonna get the shit kicked out of them.
Michigan or Texas?
Michigan.
You even have to ask that? Oh my God.
Hey, the deputy's going to have a day. Let's put it that way.
Oh. Yeah. I just want to know like the Michigan fan delusional take when they get curb stomped at this game. This
It'll
isn't
be
even
the
be
same
close.
looks we had, what was it, 12, 13 years ago? God, no, it's been longer than that.
They're gonna
When
blame
App
Ohio
State beat
State
'em?
somehow.
When App State beat them, and you saw the Michigan, those great cutaway shots and disbelieving Michigan fans. That's what we're going to
Let me
see
get my
again.
defeat Cobra ready.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys the get-in price right now, a week ahead of this game, $243.
Not spending it.
Another interesting matchup at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater. Arkansas walks in there to play Oklahoma State in what should be a pretty intriguing matchup.
Wilkie, take it.
Yeah. Taylor Green is the second coming of Lamar Jackson. I mean, he looked like Lamar Jackson against UAPB, scoring 7 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, but it was Arkansas Pine Bluff.
But this is Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State actually, for a Big 12 team, plays pretty decent defense. This is a test for Arkansas to see if they have the goods to help Sam Pittman keep his job, and B, at least be bowl eligible and give Arkansas fans a promising season. I was kind of out of the UAPB game, I was kind of feeling good about the offense, and I thought the defense played well too. But this is where the rubber meets the road against Oklahoma State in Stillwater, and so I will be watching very interestingly and on the edge of my seat.
And the next game up on Fox that day is another interesting one. Baylor travels to Utah to take on the Utes.
Utah.
Yeah, I think Utah's going to win that one pretty handily. Cam Rising is probably going to be on that Heisman list soon if he continues to put together good performances. He's a key to that offense. And what I love about Utah is they're one of the few Big 12 teams that actually pays attention to the lines. And that's what I like about Utah. I mean, they can wear you down.
They're a Big 10 team in the Big 12.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of Big Ten games, Iowa, who scored 40 points this past weekend,
How many games did that take last year?
like 12. But you notice who wasn't.
Offensively scoring that. They did score a lot on defense.
Yeah, notice who wasn't there for that game, and that would be head coach Kirk Ferentz, who was
Yeah.
suspended for game one. Iowa State traveling to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes on CBS.
It's going to be a fun one. Just for
Cyhawk.
It's Cyhawk.
Cyhawk. Absolutely. That one's going to be
a good. You gotta love a good early rivalry game.
Mm-hmm.
And I go down the list here, guys, and I just can't find a game that looks like it's going to be interesting or right. Oh, wait. Here we go. Tennessee, coming off their whitewashing of Chattanooga, travels to Charlotte to take on NC State in a primetime game on ABC.
Okay.
It has some potential.
I like Tennessee in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably by 2 or 3 touchdowns. NC State just did not come out strong in their opener. And now we're in a neutral site. You know, you can say it's in North Carolina, but there are going to be as many Tennessee fans as there are going to be NC State fans. 2 great fan bases, by the way. What I saw about Tennessee, that's they're going to win by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the tailgate's gonna be more interesting than the game.
Here's another one for you guys. The return of an ancient rivalry. Colorado travels to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers.
Post.
Dylan Raiola versus Shadur
Oh.
Sanders. Take the over.
Dylan Raiola cosplaying Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you saw him walking off the bus, but good Lord, it looked like his Halloween costume.
Yeah, well, and Mahomes actually reached out on the 280 character app after one of his passes, you know, the little sidearm underhanded deal, and got a big gain. And so Mahomes reached out on the Twitters and shouted out Raiola for it. But yeah, take the over. Colorado and Nebraska, definitely.
And I look down the list here, and I just don't see anything else that says we got to talk about this in terms of a game. Do you?
No. Let's
Well,
get to
I'm
the fun
interested
part.
to see how Clemson plays against App State.
Yeah.
That's because after a devastating loss like they had against Georgia, App State's no pushover.
Yeah, that's Michigan.
There's going to be some nervous Tiger fans in Death Valley on Saturday. So I'm interested to see how they react after that loss
Well,
to Georgia.
and more importantly, you mentioned the get-in price for Texas and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do some quick math, and we all know how difficult that can be for me sometimes. You can get 60 tickets to Eastern Michigan and Washington for the same price as 1 ticket to Texas and Michigan.
So the non-cheating Michigan school is much cheaper to go see.
Correct.
But you have to travel to Seattle to do it.
$4 to get it? Dang.
I'm taking it.
Winner. And that's a
It's
good
a-
way, guys, to transition
It's a
into.
good trip.
That's a great way to transition into college football on a budget. It's where we talk about the games that you could get in for a special.
that for $1.
Less than a soda.
Mm-hmm.
In many cases, that's exactly the case. We'll start off early on here. The first game of the week 2 schedule, Western Illinois at Indiana. Your get-in price at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington,
Oh.
$7.
No, can't do it.
No,
I'm busy. I'm busy that night. Sorry, guys.
no, I got
I'd
things
rather
to
see a
do.
real
I
Big
got-
Ten school.
You got high school football, John. I may go to a game. High
Yeah,
school game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May
Right.
walk over to Mount Pisgah.
There you
Even
go.
though the price to get in's the same, I'm going to go with the high school game.
Yeah.
It's more expensive here.
Mm.
Yeah. And they won't let you pay cash either.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
Well,
off
you know
my
what?
lawn.
I got my FCS ID, so I'm okay.
Yeah,
I
we've
get
got
it
a
for free.
Few games that are going to qualify here on the list as we move into Saturday afternoon, a couple of noon kickoffs. Rhode Island at Minnesota, $8 to get into Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis.
Can't do it.
If you're going to go to Minneapolis, this is the time of year to go.
No, can't do it. No.
No,
I would go.
not even if Prince was there. I don't think.
Now, if Prince was there and it was $8 to get in, I'd go. Obviously, yeah. Prince.
I would go because I'd go watch Max Brosmer play for Minnesota. He played over at Centennial High School, right, which is right down the road. His brother is close friends with my son, so I'd go and see Max play for that cost.
Okay.
You get a free ticket though.
Yeah, and if that one doesn't interest you, there's always the Akron Rutgers game in Piscataway,
Oh,
also at $8.
Piscataway's lovely in September.
It's lovely any time of the year.
I guess.
Fine Italian restaurants, I'm sure.
Gotta
I get a
say
plate
no.
of pasta and check out the Scarlet Knights and the Zippity Doodaws.
And here's one for you. I think you would have to pay me to go to this game. Mary Mac at UConn
I know.
in East Hartford, get in price $5.
No,
Uh,
no,
not even if they're already in the Big 12.
no, no,
I'm not even watching this on ESPN Plus.
no,
No.
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 Hard.
I might go see McNeese in Texas A&M for $11 at Kyle Field just because of the band at halftime for Texas A&M.
That's $1 over a soda though.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's true.
I just couldn't do it. It's barely college football.
Yeah, I mean, South Dakota, Wisconsin at 3:30 for $9 at Camp Randall, maybe just to jump around. You
I'm
know.
on that one.
A $9 jump around.
I'm on that one.
Careful, sir.
All right.
Careful.
Or if you want to make the trip to Boston, you could go see Duquesne play Boston College. Get in price right now at Alumni Stadium, $4.
I'd go. Beautiful
$4.
campus.
$4 you got me. I'd rather see a
Yeah.
basketball game between those two, but for $4, why not?
Yeah, it's hard to beat a bargain like that. And Boston's a great place to be this time of year.
Especially up in Chestnut Hill where the BC campus is. There are a couple of really good hole-in-the-wall restaurants I discovered there. So tailgate there, head over to Alumni Stadium.
Stop
Maybe-
by Ross, get some gear for the local college. And go.
Yeah.
And going down the list here, if you want to make the trip up to Louisville, you could get into the Jacksonville State Louisville game for the low price of $6.
I'm going and I'm stopping by the Louisville Slugger plant and getting a custom bag.
Yeah, the ponies running at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, I think you could.
You could always hit one of the bourbon distilleries too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's a
Middleton.
good trip.
Yeah.
Make your mark at Maker's Mark.
Let's see, Middle Tennessee.
Last Friday night, by the way, or two.
Wax off.
Mm-hmm. Middle Tennessee and Ole Miss for $5 at 4:15 Eastern. Get to see Ole Miss run it up again for 2 weeks in a row.
Mm.
Oh, here's
Who's the coach
Maybe.
there?
Who, Kiffykins?
Oh yeah.
Baby Kiff.
Yeah.
For that much money, I'll go just to boo him.
yeah. Now here's one for you guys that might be worth a trip. Central Michigan at Florida International, $9 buy-in at Pitbull Stadium in Miami.
Yeah, at the pit
Oh
bull.
yeah. See.
Yeah.
I want to see if that coach that wears the sunglasses at night that have the little camera in the corner is on the sideline this year or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should have called it Mr. Worldwide Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Yeah,
big-
that would have been. That would
Would
have
have
been.
had to expand the sign to fit all the letters though, or use
Yeah.
a small font.
The thing is,
True.
there is a wait a second, hang on. Let me see if I can find there's like a second sponsor ahead of the Pitbull Stadium thing. There's like a drink sponsor, so it's like this double-sided business card of
It's Red Bull Pitbull. I just want to see the band all dress up like Pitbull, all come out in white
Oh, yeah,
suits
if they
and
came out-
sunglasses. That'd be amazing.
came out in a white sport coat with a black Oxford shirt, it would be classic.
White
Yeah.
deck shoes. I'm in.
Okay, guys, I have found the cheapest game on the board for the week.
Uh-oh.
Alcorn State at Vanderbilt in Nashville, $3 to get in the door.
I'm in.
Absolutely.
That's less than
Yeah.
a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, kid.
Absolutely. Oh,
My
we're
goodness.
Nashville, so there's plenty of stuff to do. The stadium's not that far from downtown.
sorry, I
No.
was wrong. It's an auto dealership. South Dade Kia Field at Pitbull Stadium.
Okay.
Brought to you by Carmex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's one that surprises me a little bit. Nicholls State at LSU at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. It's
Breadstick.
$9 to get in.
Oh,
$9?
heck
I'm
yes.
Absolutely.
I'm
Get
there.
there Thursday when everybody parks their RVs for the tailgate.
Exactly.
That surprises me because they usually sell that stadium out no matter who's playing.
All
Well,
day long, I'm taking that one.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, for me, Marty, normally don't you do this if you're really,
Ring
you're,
a ding ding.
yeah, so you're ding
Put
ding.
me in
ding.
a town square.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And then I'm going to finish things off here with the Arizona connection. Northern Arizona at Arizona in Tucson. Your get in the door price, $5.
Dang.
I'm there. Tucson's a great atmosphere for college football. I covered the NAU
nice.
Lumberjacks for 3 years. Yeah, it'd be an old, going back and seeing some old friends. So what the heck?
I'm buying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably buying some extras just for the leg room.
Absolutely, I'm in.
And that other Arizona school, Arizona State hosts Mississippi State in Tempe. You can get in the door there for $6.
Yeah, but I'm avoiding that and climbing the mountain and watching it from on top of the mountain there at Sun Devil Stadium. Since they haven't blocked the view yet.
Oh,
So I'm doing it for
That's
free.
an actual stadium with a view,
Mm.
not just a.
It's a
not
little bit
just
of a
a-
hike. May have to avoid some security personnel, but hey,
It's not band risers next to a pond.
no.
It's an actual stadium.
Yeah, and really, those are your discount specials, your college football on a budget, if you will.
if you will.
The only one we didn't mention that was under $10 is South Alabama at Ohio.
And there's a reason why we didn't mention it.
Yeah, the get-in price there for $9 at Payton Stadium in Athens, Ohio, but that would mean you would have to actually go to Athens, Ohio, the other Athens.
Or find it.
So not Ohio State, not Alabama. Just schools in the same states.
Yes.
No.
So- Because so many cupcake games this week, it's kind of hard. There was a lot of games on that board.
This section brought to you by Nothing Bunt Cake.
I mean, there were weeks where we did this last season where we had to go to $20 in order to get through the list and make it an entertaining segment. This time we had a whole long laundry list of games, all under $10. Oh, and speaking of games under $20, I have to mention this because this also surprises me. If you want to go see Alabama play South Florida at Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's only $14 to get in.
Still not going.
No, but the price is
I might
intriguing.
go. I might go.
Nah,
It makes me wonder if they could sell the place out.
If you haven't been to the stadium, I guess go.
not happening. Nope. Not doing it. I've
My
been
question to Phil is, are you going to Reno this weekend to watch your Georgia Southern Eagles play the Wolfpack?
Ooh.
That'll be a game I watch on the Plus because that is the best way to watch college football if you can't be there.
Dude, it's $11.
Nah.
Yeah,
The one thing I hate about the Plus is they need to steal what YouTube and Peacock does when they don't have commercials, is to show something that doesn't annoy you after 2 seconds.
And they show it
That-
over and over again.
Just
Yes.
the worst promo they have. Hey, this is a 5-second promo that's grating. Let's loop this.
No.
And as we're still on college football on a budget,
Yeah.
a question for the group. My alma mater, Missouri State, coming off a very tough loss to Montana,
Hmm.
travels to Ball State, Muncie, Indiana.
He said ball.
$24 to get in.
No.
Yeah.
It's a nice campus. They've got a great broadcast facility, but
No.
probably not.
Okay.
No. Too much.
But as alumni, yeah. You go. No, I won't.
Mm.
I'll do some sightseeing while I'm in Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, there you go. That'll take you what, about 20 seconds?
Probably.
Couple of stoplights.
Hey, Letterman gave them a lot of money for their broadcast stuff there. That's worth it.
Yes, he
I
did.
did. Mhm.
Stonehill and Stony Brook is $8. Duquesne, yeah, we mentioned Duquesne in BC.
Oh, are they going to call that like they have a Stonehenge trophy for that one or something?
The Magic Place. Western Oregon and Idaho State, $5 at the ICCU Dome in Pocatello.
Which is a converted airplane hangar.
You're going to hit the ICU? No.
But yeah, Northern Arizona, $5. That gets us into 1AA's and FCS's. So choose wisely.
Guys, we have droned on here for almost a full hour
We never drove on.
talking about the college football that was and the college football that is coming up.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add here before we wrap things up on this week's episode?
Nope.
Okay, with that, I will do the sign off. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate you sticking around, listening to what we have to say, our thoughts, our opinions, our breakdowns of some of the highlights of the college football week that was and the college football week coming up.
That isn't.
Yeah, that. Make sure if you want some college football action during the week, don't forget about the College Football X. Wilkie, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, at College Football X, John Nelson and I will have a little fun. We'll do our own version of college football on a budget. John comes up with some interviews. I might come up with some interviews. And it's a good action-packed hour.
And this week on the X,
It's a tease.
we catch up with one of the 5 programs that is starting college football this year. So we're continuing that as a part of our part of the anchor leg segment. We're catching up with the 5 new programs this year, and we catch up with another one of them this week.
Yeah, you want to learn a little bit about
Tune
what's
in and find out who.
How did William Woods do?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's find out, shall
They
we?
got weathered.
Oh, no.
They were playing William Penn.
Yeah, it was the Billy Bowl. That's
So-
what they call it, legitimately. That's what they call it.
The
You know,
weather did not
Probably
cooperate.
should.
William and Mary was the odd man out, or odd lady out too, I guess,
Careful.
in this case.
All right. So, efforting before we go, catching up with our friends with William Woods. They dropped their inaugural game with William Penn. So, yeah, it was a long day for William Woods. William Penn won the inaugural Billy Bowl. First time in 154-year history of William Woods that they played, but it was a long day for them, and they lost their 0-1.
But the memories will be there.
That's a win, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, filling a team. Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely.
If you want to learn a little bit about college football that you probably didn't know beforehand, tune into the X weekdays here on the OSG Sports College Football Network. Guys, thanks for hanging with us. For OSG Wilkie, for OSG Nelson, and for Brother Marty, I am Brother Phil. We are the OSG College Football Sports team. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe.